All right, last game for this edition of Hitting the Books. It's also the last of the 4 quarterfinals. New Year's Day, the nightcap in the Sugar Bowl. We've got Notre Dame and Georgia, and currently we've got Georgia 1.5, 2-point favorites here in this game. The total sitting at 44, pretty much across the board here for the Sugar Bowl, the final quarterfinal game. Now, this is the one game I wouldn't be in a rush to bet over, but obviously it's priced like it with this total here sitting at 44. Georgia's going to have to win with their defense, and they know it. They're obviously in a bit of a difficult spot. Now, despite his flaws, despite the mistakes and the inconsistencies at times, there's still a drop-off massively from Carson Beck to Gunnar Stockton. There's no doubt. And yes, Kirby Smart and the coaching staff are going to have a couple weeks to get Gunnar Stockton ready for the huge game already, thrust in having to start a college football playoff quarterfinal game. And certainly that could be a bit of an issue for Georgia to have to overcome. But the defense is good enough to carry them. And we saw it against Texas. Look at that game. Picture perfect how the defense carried them to victory there, because the offense wasn't great against Texas either. They were getting outgained significantly, especially in that first half. And yet there's the defense just doing everything they can to hang in there and give Georgia a chance to win. They're good enough defensively to do that here against Notre Dame. The question for Notre Dame is going to be Riley Leonard avoiding mistakes, Riley Leonard using his athleticism and being able to make plays outside the pocket against this Georgia defense. And he's going to have to make a few. There's no doubt, because whether Jeremiah Love gets going in this game is definitely in doubt facing this Georgia defensive front, which, as I've said for the year, 128.3 rushing yards per game allowed, 36th. I guess my question is, how great is this Notre Dame offensive line? Because they lost some pieces from last year's team, which was such a great offensive line. And I know their starting center got injured early in the year. Now you're going to have to try to measure up, and can you get Jeremiah Love going on the ground here and have that kind of success with him that obviously he had against Indiana over the weekend, especially that big long run. But it's funny, he had that big long 98-yard run and was kind of held in check other than that against Indiana. They've got to be able to have some ability to run this football because, again, the passing game for Notre Dame is still kind of a work in progress with them. It's always been a team that, they've got to be able to stay balanced. You can't have Riley Leonard be a one-dimensional pass. It can't be a one-dimensional offense through the air only, or else it's going to be a tough night for Notre Dame here against this Georgia defense. They've got to be able to stay out of the chains. You've got to be able to have Jeremiah Love have some success, and when he's being bottled up, Riley Leonard's got to make an impact running the football as well, which he's capable of. That's a big question mark here. This number's in a very good spot because I think Georgia's defense still could be good enough to win them the game, but Gunnar Stockton's the great unknown. And the question is Notre Dame's defense and the solid, strong performance we saw from them against Indiana, where they played very well on the defensive side of the football. They stopped the run. They got pressure on Curtis Rourke. Can that carry over here against Georgia? And remember, the Georgia offensive line at times this year has been wobbly. You've got a very inexperienced quarterback in a big-time pressure spot now on the other side. I'm honestly leaning Notre Dame, but I feel better with them at 3 or better. I don't know if I want to just with a guy that's been here, done that before in these big spots like Kirby, to be able to just say, let's line it up and just take Notre Dame to win this game, only getting 2. But I've got some hesitation to back Georgia as a small favorite. If you tell me their defense is going to force some turnovers against Riley Leonard, get some stops and when Notre Dame's driving and hold them off and hold them to field goals and or on 4th down stops, and this defense is just going to somehow wrangle Georgia to victory the way they did against that defense did for them against Texas, then I'd definitely be on Georgia because I still feel there's a bit of an advantage in the trenches for them. But Notre Dame here does have a significant experience edge, and they might even have a talent edge in Maybe if you give Stockton a full season, he's going to show he's great because Georgia, all they do is recruit great players, 4 or 5 stars. And Gunnar Stockton in time maybe is going to be a great quarterback. But right now you can't say that Riley Leonard isn't the better quarterback. He's more experienced. He's certainly played well enough this season for Notre Dame. And that's certainly something that tilts the scales in Notre Dame's favor. Oh, and they're catching points. So I am leaning Notre Dame. I just like them a lot more if I was getting at least a field goal, which I'm not at the moment. C-Mac, what do you think here? Notre Dame, Georgia, Sugar Bowl.
Well, I think if it's a little bit like you talked about the Ohio State game, if they bring the A game here, they win. But there's just a lot of question marks with Stockton and the defense that went from kind of quarter to quarter, really half to half. What were you getting? That's why they didn't cover numbers this year. You know, the first half versus Texas versus the second. We saw that a ton. We saw them get their ass kicked against Georgia Tech. You have to come all the way back to that crazy.
They couldn't stop the run and the quarterback run from Haynes King, and they go from that to doing what they did against Texas in the SEC championship game. Schizophrenic.
Yeah, it is. So I think Notre Dame can have some success running it. We will see. Like, normally what I do is for the last 5 years in Notre Dame, they failed in these games. When they've had to play in the bigger games against the SEC, they've lost. When I look at this, I think this is their best chance, though. And basically just kind of a flip them here. It's moved to 1.5, 2 for Georgia, and I get it. That's where people want to be. But I think this could be Notre Dame's best shot with Riley Leonard, this defense that's been really, really good. But we go back to the schedule. Man, you hit on it before the Indiana game. We talked about it. This is just a little bit another step up in a huge, huge game. Man, it should be a lot of fun. I think both defenses are good. I think this game is close. Really, really close. Seems like a quarterback make a mistake in Leonard or Stockton. I think Stockton's going to be pretty good here. I think he's going to do just enough. We saw him come in. He's a tough kid and played pretty good. I don't really have anything. I don't want to give you something because I had better. I got nothing. I don't know if I move here on this game. I'm going to sit with it for a while, but it should be good.
Here's a good strategy.
Both great defenses. Notre Dame's defense is just really, really good all year long. Let's see that again. I got to see it some more.
Here's a good strategy. Whoever scores first in this game, bet against them. If you can get, something like 6.5, 7 as an underdog with either of these teams, take it. Because that's, to me, the move to make. Might just be because I lean Notre Dame, but if I can get maybe Georgia gets an early field goal or touchdown or something, and I can get 6 or 7 with Notre Dame, then I'd maybe grab it. That being said, if Notre Dame scores first, I actually might be tempted to go the other way and take Georgia at that same number live, because I don't think either team's going to separate from the other, given the circumstances. Notre Dame is good enough to hang here.
I think so in the trenches, where it's been a problem in the past. Yeah.
That's why this number's in a great spot. Give me a 3, I'm on Notre Dame. Now the current number, I'm a little leery to take them. But if I find something at 6.5, 7 with Notre Dame in particular, then I'll jump on it live in game at some point. But right now, I'll tell you this right now. Definitely, I lean Notre Dame +2. But like I said, I'm hoping for 3 or better.
Irish, baby, come on, one time, Irish fucking win here.
And remember, this is the Superdome. Caesar Superdome, home of the Saints in New Orleans. So, there'll be a lot of Georgia faithful there. That being said, this is Notre Dame. This is, one of America's teams in college football. Notre Dame green will be there in full force, too. You're going to get a lot of Notre Dame fans. It's not like Georgia is going to completely outnumber Notre Dame fans, because this is arguably the biggest Notre Dame game in, years. Easily, especially with the caliber of opponent you're playing. No question.
Since Bama?
Yeah.
And they lost the national championship. They did play Clemson.
Yeah,
they lost that game. They couldn't score.
Final, and then there was the championship game with Brian Kelly way back when against Alabama, where they just got absolutely destroyed in that game.
God, don't remind me.
That's the thing. Brian Kelly's not there anymore. I'm going to open the door for Marcus Freeman, to show me he's kind of ready for these moments like this. So, like I said, that's a great game. That's a terrific game to finish the quarterfinal round on New Year's Day in the Sugar Bowl. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Hit the like button. We appreciate it very much. Again, we've got we're looking forward to the bowl games, and of course the quarterfinal round. Our next show for the we're going to have a college basketball show this Friday, the usual time, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern on Friday. We'll get you ready for the weekend in college basketball. It's a big card on Saturday, so we'll be on Friday with that. But no more college football show until Monday, January the 6th in the new year. That will be our next college football show 2 weeks from now, Monday, January 6th. And on that show, we'll talk about the semifinals. It'll be semifinal week in the playoffs. So we'll be on for a short show on Monday, January 6th. And then Monday, January 13th will be our national championship preview show, which will be our season finale for the college football Hitting the Books show for the season.